All right, Captain. Let's do just the whole pod with a generic pirate accent. All right.
Let's do a swashbuckling podcast.
Lost me leg to the damn sharks. The space sharks. Oh, yeah, I forgot it. I got to couch everything, and this is space. You swab the space deck. I'll shoot you out of the space cannon. I'll make you walk the space plank, which is the airlock. The space plank is an airlock. Get it? Because if we were on water, you would just walk out, but we're not on water, so we have another.
It might as well be just as bad.
We'll just call walk the plank then.
We're getting booty.
We're getting the booty.
We're getting space booty.
You gonna hit me with your space cutlass. I mean, it's a lightsaber. I'm ragging on it like I hate the show, but I actually really love the show. It's just it's
ridiculous.
It's a fun.
ridiculous.
It's kind of a funny show to make fun of, but like,
oh yeah,
I'm really really glad it exists. Anyway, spoilers. Are we going to talk about Skeleton Crew today, or what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to talk about Skeleton Crew, Nick.
Okay.
Nicky boy.
Hold on, let me pop open my NA hop water because I'm trying to not drink as much.
Cool guy over here.
I'm not dry. Okay, this is not dry January. I'm not trying to single-handedly kill craft beer. You know.
If you're in your 30s, it's cool not to drink. If you're in your 20s,
it's way cooler not to drink.
It's a lot more bold.
No, it's not. The youngins
not drink in your 20s.
The youngins don't drink anymore. Have you seen the footage? I mean, have you seen the
what kind of footage are we talking about?
the studies, I guess, is what the word I was looking for. So yeah, millennials are killing drinking. Or sorry, not millennials. We're millennials. Gen Z is killing drinking. They're killing it. Craft beer has reached its summit. I think it's on the way down. So.
That was a millennials thing, so that's it. No one likes craft beer anymore.
Yeah, and I saw a hot take. I don't necessarily believe in this because I think the timelines are off, but people are saying, well, young people grew up going to breweries with their families, so that's like a lame thing to do. You don't go to a brewery as a cool 21-year-old. But I'm like, the time frame doesn't really fit. Like, when was I like actually going to a craft brewery? Like at earliest 2000.
I don't know, man. That's a pretty broad thing to just write off.
Yeah, like 2000. I mean, I turned 21 in 2007, so I probably really wasn't.
I went to Chili's with my family when I was a kid. You think I don't like going to Chili's anymore?
Chili's is cool as hell. Yeah, you don't think that's a lame family activity, right?
No one thinks that.
2-for-1 entrees, right? Isn't it a 2-for-1
sponsorship?
Yeah, you got. I think you got to join.
Yeah,
you should go join the club, the Chili's club. When you're here, no, that's the other one. When you're here,
you're drunk because margaritas are pretty cheap.
Well, yeah, when you're here, you're struggling to get enough beer because the mugs seem like they're big, but they're just thick.
When you're here, you're not really here because you're on the floor plastered.
Yeah.
Unconscious, and the cops have been just called.
When you're here, your feet are sticky. How's that?
Yeah.
Because that place is always really sticky.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway. Chris.
So today I thought we'd talk about the Skeleton Crew, but I think you also had something you wanted to talk
Chris,
about.
did you know that Doritos are unhealthy?
What?
Yeah, dude. So I've been eating Doritos once a day, like, at least for my entire life. And now we got this new guy elected. That's the old guy elected. And he's got a new guy that's an old guy from a family that's draining the swamp, but is like, and he says all the red dyes are bad. And I was like, man, I thought Doritos were good before. Shoot, I shouldn't have eaten them every day. Darn, drat.
So he's draining the food dye?
Yeah, and I got a whole list of drain this food dye swamp. I get you there. I got a whole list of food dyes and additives that you got to look out for. It's a list of things. If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. But do you want access to my list?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Sorry. I forgot to say it is 5 easy payments of $29.99 to look at my list. And you have to subscribe to my Patreon to get part of the list every day. Also, Yeah, so you're going to pay me for coaching sessions. Those run at about $1,000 a pop if you want the full list of all the other dyes that you don't want. Also, I have like a new detox program that's 5 easy payments of $69,420. And if you get that, then we go to the diamond package, which is where I show you how to remove microplastics manually. One by one.
It oddly sounds like a sales pitch. To be honest.
By one. Yeah.
See,
the food's out there. The food on the shelves at the grocery store. They're trying to kill you. They weren't trying to kill you before. I'm going to say now they're trying to kill you now, like basically after Obama was elected. They're trying to kill you now. Doritos, you thought they were good for you? Nuh-uh, they're not. And it's because of woke.
They also, the Obama administration invented the food pyramid. So
they did, and they flipped it over so that Doritos were on top. And they were like, see, it's healthy now. I know we just said that we're going to do healthy foods in schools and pizza is a vegetable, but Doritos is good now. And I was like, shit, sign me up. It's already been good. What's that countdown? Oh, weird.
I just recorded on Riverside.
Okay.
I'm already recording on locally.
I was like, what's that countdown? Yeah. And so anyway, I'm really disappointed to find out that junk food that is like has a shelf life of like a year and a half. I'm really concerned to find out that it's not good for you because I've been eating it every fucking day of my life.
Is this because of RFK Jr? Is he the one that's
he's gonna save us all? He's not gonna wake up tomorrow and remember, oh yeah, I'm from a giant oligarch family with with basically dynastic ties to the entire like ruling class of this world. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm a Kennedy. I'm gonna just take the bribe now. Thank you. Thanks,
You can't eat Doritos anymore. Doritos are bad. I talk like this because I'm RFK. Listen, guys.
Listen, I cry every time you eat pizza rolls. I walk by. I go to Kroger, and I walk by the pizza rolls, and I shed a tear like the Indian in that one commercial where the guy litters. That's instead of the Indian guy.
For some reason, I talk like this, but people invite me out of podcasts a lot.
And to talk about health, even though I sound like this. Even though I look like and both look like and sound like I've never had a glass of water since 1978.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of the color of a deep burgundy armchair in a study.
I'm a highly charismatic guy. I'm part of the Trump administration.
I made it. Cheryl.
Yeah. And scene. Okay, that was all. There's
not much more either.
I know that was a light touch of satire, and I didn't put it on thick. I know it was maybe really subtle, but I'm just really tired of every other thing on Instagram is about red dye and how it's bad for you, and it's just like so fucking funny. It's just okay. The stuff that they put in food, in junk food. Probably shouldn't have it every day. I know I was saying this to my wife the other day. It's like, if you're smoking cigarettes in 2025, that's on you. Like, that is on you. Like, no one's going to go to Philip Morris and be like, shame on you for making us think cigarettes are good. Like, if you're smoking cigs in 2025, you're doing it and you know what you're doing. Right? So it's just like, I don't understand this.
But nicotine pouches are great. Nicotine pouches are the best.
Oh, Zyn, load them up, dude.
Zyn,
load my lip.
Load up.
Load my both lips up with these packets of joy. All good to go. Sorry, again, if you're doing Zyns, that's on you. That's on you if you're doing Zyn. If you have, like lymphatic cancer.
I'm also not really against those, but it's sort of funny that.
Well, I mean, I'm not against it either. Like, and I understand. Like, okay, you could turn my argument around for vapes because, kids think vapes are cool. So it's almost like that's the new frontier of smoking. I get it. Okay, there's that part of it, but like, at some
I
point,
just don't want to attack an entire class. You know, if
Like-
you go after Zyns, we could lose our entire listenership. I don't know.
and what's funny to me, and I tweeted this earlier and shared it with you because I was like, hey, boost this for me. But all of these, it's called CPG, consumer packaged goods, right? And that's the stuff that's loaded with the dyes we're not supposed to have and whatnot, and chemical compounds that are, quote unquote banned in the EU, right? Because we trust the EU so much as Americans anyway. And we're just one very savvy PR campaign away from that just being cool. Like, what was the tagline I told you? It's just like, we got rid of the red dye and the DEI. Like, it's just going to be a vibe shift. And because all of these brands just seem woke and liberal, and just as soon as we're going to wake up on January 21st and all of the Super Bowl ads this year are going to be how not woke all these companies are. And they'll be like, oh, we're good. Okay. I forget what I said about the dyes. We're good.
So quick to declare victory on the. This is a podcast that's not against conservatives or anything. I just have to poke fun at them.
Oh yeah,
But,
we poke fun at both sides.
Poke fun at both sides.
Yeah,
of
poke fun at
course,
both
but
sides.
It's like we won, or like the DI thing at Facebook, or if they were managed to get like red food dye out
Yeah.
of certain products, it would be like a victory.
Yeah.
But
they're not.
I
The
don't know,
spoiler
let's not be too hasty.
the spoiler is they're not. Again, like I said, these companies are going to spend money on PR campaigns to get people to like it's cool and patriotic to eat ho-hos, right? Like it's actually not woke to eat Twinkies. Like if you eat a Twinkie, like you're straight up freedom loving patriot, right? That's all it's going to take, and then everyone's going to forget all of the RFK bullshit. And right now, it's just these companies seem liberal to you, and so you're like, well, all these liberal companies are trying to poison me. Newsflash, they've been poisoning you for 20 years, man. They've been poisoning you since the 50s, man. You just are not supposed to be eating that shit every day.
Well, and also we are a nation of science and in a world of science. And the thing is, science gets used to help us to eat more of bad stuff. Like the red food dye on Doritos, it's there to catch your attention and make it look, delicious.
Yeah, January 21st, the rental what are the Penske, the yellow Penske truck is going to roll up to RFK's residence and then dump the cash into his living room, and he's going to go, oh yeah, I forgot, I'm a Kennedy. Not going to do any of that stuff. Bye. You know what doesn't have red dye, Chris?
I mean, everything these days, but please tell me what.
Magic Mind energy shots. Let's go.
Oh my God. You mean the mental performance shot?
Yes.
That's packed with vitamins and nutrients?
Yes. No red dye in there. Nothing in there. I can say this with full confidence. Nothing in a Magic Mind I'm like, what? Sorry, what's the full word we say? Magic Mind
mental
performance shot. Nothing in that contains ingredients that make RFK cry. Like,
no, I think he would approve.
Yeah, he would get on the mic here and he would croak out his praises for how cool Magic Mind was. And then, which in RFK means it's great.
I didn't know that you were like a translator.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's good. Yeah, because we know that we need to be healthy. I mean, I think the big thing for me is like, yes, it's good to like have these. It's good to like take care of your health in terms of like getting like good vitamins and nutrients. But I've also been trying to sleep better because like if you're gonna have better energy throughout the day, yeah, like you can have coffee, you can have the Magic Mind, which is great. But also they have a sleep elixir now, and I've just started using it, so I'm not like I don't know a ton about it yet, like about the effect that it's had on me. But basically, Nick, it's 2 shots a day now. I'm at 2 shots.
2 shots.
It's 2 shots a day.
2
for
shots
me,
to the
and
chest.
It's the healthy kind.
You've been hanging with the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I haven't had I unfortunately have not gotten the 1 shot in the night yet, which I want to try. But I heard from the grapevine that if you take that, you which means sleep like a baby.
Yeah, you sleep like a baby, but you don't have any like habit forming ingredients. Like there's no melatonin in it. It's all natural. Of course, you'd expect that. From
No,
Magic
you don't want
Mind.
mellow. You don't want melatonin. You want hyped tonin.
You want hype tonin. confirmed an ingredient.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. So I you know me. I actually am fully on. I've been taking the Magic Mind like once a day. I think you have been too.
Mm-hmm.
Today I came in clutch because I was at the gym and then my boss messaged me, which is probably one of the worst feelings ever. But I'm at like. I brought Magic Mind with me, Nick, because I was like, I'm not going to be able to bring coffee with me to the gym. That would be a real hassle. So I'm going to bring Magic Mind with me. So I actually did. I had to stop working out. I had to go to my laptop. But I was just like, you know what? The one thing that I have that's actually picking me up right now is the fact that I have Magic Mind before a 1 hour meeting that I'm just going to sit at.
Nice, man. You know me, I like to go through my favorite ingredients, but right now it is ceremonial grade matcha, which you don't get that shit from Starbucks where they just have the powder. Like, no, you want the stuff that you could take to a ceremony. Like, if I went to my local, shaman person, and I brought him this matcha, he'd be like, let's have a ceremony.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, he's like,
if you wanted
let's sit and have an intentional space around this matcha. Whereas, the other stuff is just, it's not the same.
It's actually sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And so is your, I would say mental wealth, your mental wealth, not just your mental health, your mental wealth is sacred. So you need to treat it like that.
Your network is your net worth. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Tony Robbins. And with that, we have a great offer for you. So you can get the bundle. You can get the mental performance shot and the sleep performance shot. So you can sleep better. You can be awake better.
Sleep performance, is that the stage show I do in my dreams?
Sleep performance. Yeah, dude, you can dream in your dreams are going to be, you're going to perform better in your dreams.
Yeah.
Like the version of you in your dreams is going to be like kicking ass.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, you can use our offer, get 45% off a subscription by going to magicmind.com/SWLCJAN. So it's SWLCJAN, and just go and buy it with that link. No promo code needed. Definitely go check it out, guys.
I'm waiting on my next shipment. Need it.
Yeah, I know you do. You need to have your mental performance back.
I need my ceremonial grade matcha.
So this is sort of on the same, current topic of things. Did Facebook, what did the Facebook do?
Facebook is freedom. Facebook is not woke. They got rid of woke.
No longer woke.
No longer woke. They're going to do community notes now, like X, the everything site.
That's what so that's that.
They're getting rid of.
Was I wrong? They didn't get rid of DEI at their company?
I mean, I'm sure they're going to start. Yeah, sure. They're going to get rid of everyone who doesn't hold an H-1B visa because, God damn it, you're going to sleep under the desk. You're going to sleep under my desk because if you don't, I'm sending you back to the Near East. Yep.
I'm not sure if you're on X anymore, but that
I'm
was
on
a tweet
it
from X.
I'm on it too much. Yeah.
Yeah, you're on it. There was an uproar over the H-1B thing.
Yeah.
I think we kind of need to I get it. Like people that are anti-immigration are going to be anti this too.
Yeah.
In
theory, it's a good thing
topic.
Because you want the best and the brightest. Like, we have a need, you have a skill. Let's meet in the middle and come on over here. But what the powers that be actually want it for is that your citizenship is tied to this job. Like, it is essentially like the same thing as smuggling somebody across the border and making them be a maid against their will, or I guess, pay them starvation wages to be a maid in a hotel and not letting them sleep there. This is the same thing. Like, that's why Elon let go of basically everyone that was an H-1B, because he can make them do whatever they want because they have no path to citizenship outside of working for X. So if you want to stay in this country, you will do whatever the fuck I tell you. And that's why they want H-1B, not because he's some I love immigrants. It's like, it's funny. It's just really funny. And then I just enjoyed the infighting. I don't mind.
And
the
he also hates regulation. And to be honest, there's probably a lot of regulations that a lot of us feel are very stupid. But I think Elon's the type of guy, because he's powerful, he doesn't want anything to limit him, I think that's part of it too, is that, yeah, I don't think it's just as simple as he wants more cheap labor, because I think he's like more of an ambitious person than that. I'm sure it's part of it, because that's, having people being more malleable or cheaper is a good option to have. But I think that he just like is the kind of guy who's like, I don't want anything to limit me. Like, this is so stupid. If I want to hire people from India or whatever country to better run my companies on, then I want to be able to do that.
That's a more charitable reading of it. I'll give you that, Chris. But also,
I don't know if that's charitable. I just think maybe it is charitable, but I feel like thing is, I don't have to agree with him though.
Well,
like,
you can see H-1B visa. I don't know if you know much about it, but there's no path to citizenship after it. So it's not like, okay, you agree to work for this company for 3 years, and then after that you get a green card, and as long as you're in good standing and gainfully employed, you can stay and become a citizen. No, it is, you work here or you live here while you're working for this company, and then if your ties to this company are over, you go back home. So on the flip side, companies can sponsor people for citizenship, and they have a full path to citizenship, but it's not tied to that employment anymore. So it's like if Elon is saying, well, I don't want, I don't want regulation, like, well, nothing's stopping you from sponsoring citizens. Nothing. Like, you can do that. The H-1B thing is like, well, now I have this person, and their very existence in this country has to do with it, like how hard they work for me.
Yeah, it gives them a lot of control. And a way I think about it is a lot of these tech people that would get employed into these jobs, like, they could make a lot of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're essentially creating like a new class of rich people. I mean, they're not as rich as Elon. They're not as rich as people as the top 1%, but that's someone that can make $300K a year. That's a rich person. $200K for like these software jobs, which is like what they can make if they're senior. And I feel like just being like, oh, what if we could kind of not have to work around these extremely rich people that we need to employ to keep this thing running? I would like to have people that don't make that much money, that don't command that kind of salary, to be able to do this stuff.
Yep. Hey, that's
so part of me is like, I'm not. This doesn't have anything really to do with me, and a lot of people that are fighting over it. I'm like, do you realize that this is, it's part of a greater issue, which people are bundling it into, right? They're like, no, this is about America first. That's the MAGA people.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to have a nuanced opinion about it on either side. So, because if you support the H-1B visa, you say stuff like, hey, if you're the best and brightest of this one thing, come here and do this, whatever. You're not, because then you're not America first. And then on the other side, you have people like Bernie Sanders, who are opponents of H-1B for the things that I explained, because it's, exploitative and there's no path to citizenship. It's tied to wherever you're working. But then Bernie is called racist because he brought up the, so it's like you can't.
That's how we have to, we have to like narrow things down into like, okay, this opinion means this. Yeah. This opinion means this.
So you're either like, you support H-1B and you're too woke, or you don't and you're racist. There's no like.
So yeah.
But
that's Vivek, extremely stupid.
Did say that white people are lazy. He literally did say that.
Yeah, he did.
And nobody checked him on it.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear him.
I mean, plenty of people
checked on that. I saw him get checked on. He had a rant about how wouldn't it be better if there were more, like instead of
more mathletes,
yeah,
which is hilarious.
More mathletes,
because you're in athletics. You were in athletics in high school. Like the people that were the jockiest and like the people in your life that were the highest achieving athletes, what kind of grades did they get?
I mean,
pretty good grades, right?
Well, okay, say that again.
The people in your life who are like the highest achieving athletes, like the ones that tried really hard in cross country, or if you knew anybody from any other sports, were they getting bad grades?
I mean, I don't know if this is like, I see what you're getting at. Actually, a lot of the people that were high achievers in athletics were very high achievers in like ACT and grades.
They were high achievers elsewhere.
Period.
Like, yeah. And so the funny thing is like, well, we'd rather get the mathlete than the prom queen. I'm like, well, sorry, the prom queen was probably valedictorian. Like, what do you?
A lot of times,
yeah. Like the guy,
not always.
And granted, I mean, there's slackers on all sides. There are slacker nerds. There are slacker jocks. There are slacker burnouts. Well, I guess if you say burnouts, they're all kind of slackers, right? There's slackers on every group of people. So I'm kind of painting with a broad brush, but I'm not painting as broad of a brush as Vivek did. Like it's very funny to me to think like what reality he lived in. And then he also like made a reference to Saved by the Bell. Did you read that part?
Yeah, I think so.
We need more Screech and less Slater and Zach, which is funny because Screech isn't smart. In the show, he is an absolute idiot. Like he is not smart. Zach is the one that's smart. Like he's the one that's like fooling everybody and doing all these schemes and making money. Like, and he's also like, you know, the hot guy that gets the babes or whatever. It falls flat on its face. The people who are in your life who are the most high achieving athletes or high achieving in extracurriculars are also high achievers elsewhere in their lives. Like, it's funny.
I'm glad that we're seeing some of the true colors come out. I mean, it's a little bit too late.
Yeah.
People already gave their vote, right?
Yeah.
Basically. And they already said their opinion. They said, we like you more, which was not that high of a bar, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway.
In this particular election. But I'm like, yeah, so now I'm glad that you said this because now I kind of know how you view the world and you think that the only valuable people, I'm not going to put, you basically saying is like, we all need to be like worshiping at the feet of tech.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, we both have tech jobs, so please do that so I can continue to have a job.
But like we're dealing with, we're just cogs. We're just doing what we know is the best. That's what you have to kind of be in tech. Not everyone, but a lot of people like this is our best option. I don't know if it's like good.
And when you work in tech, like, yeah, okay, high achievement this, high achievement that, not being lazy this, not being lazy that, whatever. Like the way that you move up in tech, because especially at a large company, is like there's always going to be somebody smarter than you, because you know people, especially if you're at one of the big four, there's always going to be somebody smarter than you. There's always going to be somebody working harder than you. There's always going to be somebody sleeping under their desk, you know, like to answer the 3 a.m. email. The way you do it, the way you succeed is by being good to work with. Like, oh, this guy gets things done and he doesn't cause problems, and he you know exceeds, or he or she exceeds expectations, right? It's not like, wow, they worked their butts off, because like you can work your butt off and still suck, you know?
Yeah, man. Well, it's about balance. Like if you want to think about it, like I think a happier life and a happier world is one with more balance, and not just saying we put all our marbles into tech.
If I'm getting the 3 a.m. phone call because something broke, I fucked up. So yay for me that I'm awake and I'm here to serve you, and cool, I'm hardworking, but also maybe I didn't make the personal fuck up, right? I'm just reliable, so I'm there. But like I didn't create some system, or I'm not smart enough to keep this from happening. This happened. There's no infrastructure to save it, and so I'm the only one who could fix it. That is a fuck up. That is not a good thing. Like if you're the one that has to if anyone is having to answer that 3 a.m. phone call, something's wrong. It's not a hard worker. Anyway.
Yeah. So I don't know what I was gonna say, but I was gonna say, like, if you think about what I always like to think about is that. Think about that aristocrat from maybe 1800s or 1700s, or like that noble. Like he had to know all of he had to be the smartest, but he also had to like know how to duel. He had to know how to ride a horse. He had to know how to hunt. He had to know how to be good at dinner parties. He had to have the greatest decorum. Like I'd like that was an aristocrat who had balance. And now it's just like, well, whatever's going to make the most amount of money, just pour yourself into that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really a life of balance. It's not really an interesting person either. If all they have is a job that makes them a lot of money, I mean, that's great, but
Interesting.
it's not. I feel like it's not the best thing to shoot for as a country either.
Interesting. Looking into it. Okay, epic. I'll take it.
Yeah, Elon doesn't care.
I'm taking your feedback. I'm taking it. We're looking into it. We'll find out if me just having a boatload of money and no good ideas is good for the economy. We'll find out.
Looking into it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. I can't hear you over the deafening sound of all my government contracts that if they go away, much of the economy goes away. Epic. Oh, cool.
Let me create this meme on Twitter. I'm going to play
a great meme.
7 hours straight of
Diablo.
POV.
I just like to work. I like to
online
work.
Game. He plays a lot of Diablo.
I don't have a house. I sleep in Austin. I sleep in Mar-a-Lago and also Joe Rogan's basement. Oh, epic. Wow. Interesting. Looking into it. Anyway.
All right. Should we talk about Skeleton Crew?
Yeah, back to Star Wars.
Great
anyway.
segue, Chris.
Yeah,
great segue.
Okay. You got uncomfortable because I think the algorithms understood that I was making fun of Elon. So
I got really uncomfortable because
we're gonna get demonetized. Just kidding. We're not monetized anyway. Woohoo!
Yeah. So we are a Star Wars podcast. My name is Chris Higgins, by the way. This is my lovely co-host, Nick Oswald.
Hey, yeah, that was a really long preamble, but hey, here we are. I'm Nick Oswald.
This is how we do our show now.
So we're going to talk about in the penultimate days leading up to, in fact, today is actually when the newest episode comes out. But we're going to talk about basically our thoughts and feelings ahead of the Skeleton Crew finale, right?
Yeah, we'll come back and I think we can come back and do our next episode about the finale.
Yeah, epic. Oh, good. I like that.
Very epic.
Very epic. Looking into it.
I can't that's a good impression. I can't. I don't even want to try. I don't think I have an Elon.
Yeah, you got to sound like a Dutch guy that watched too much Friends growing up. Oh, epic. Oh, could you be any dumber? Yeah, so I have been really enjoying it. I've got bad news, Chris. This actually, according to a tweet, again, this might not be actually true. It has worse ratings than the Acolyte. So it is suffering from post-Acolyte hangover. And it's funny because I think this is a much better show. It's much better written. It is a lot more fun and like it's not up its own ass, I'll say. Do you feel that way? Like I think like the Acolyte was a little bit too self-serious, though I think it deserved to be serious in some
100%.
ways. But like Skeleton Crew is just like you're just gonna have a good time and just come in and enjoy. I'm not
just a fun.
I'm not
fun
enjoying smelling my own farts right now. I'm just doing Star Wars here. Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah. There's no like, hey, this could be like HBO, man.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
This is prestige television. Like,
this is not them trying
Sopranos
to do
in the space,
But I do think they brought it here. I think they felt it seems like a confident show. They don't seem to be held back or trying to prove anything. Which is great because I'm just here for a good time. Yep. Anyone can watch this.
I'm here for a good time, but not a long time. So up in I guess we're not going to do a scene by scene breakdown of 7 episodes of television. I guess
episode 1 synopsis. So episode 1 was written by blank and was directed by blank.
Oh.
And
minute 3:05. Man, they really ought to make podcast equipment more expensive.
Like just like Vibes.
They need to tax us more. Podcasters.
They need to tax us more.
Just disincentivize us from doing this. Sorry. Moving on. And I think this is going on to the theme of our show: things we like, things we love about Star Wars. I think I'm just going to talk about the good things. Because there's actually not that much I don't like about the show, to be honest.
I have a little theme for my evaluation, but I want you to go through yours first. Let's go over Nick's overall thoughts, and then I'll find a good moment.
Yeah. One, I think there are significant payoffs to, I think like long-term lore that I guess not payoffs. So we're not like getting some big secrets revealed, but the underlying mystery of what is at Aten and what are they doing there and why are they cut off from the rest of the galaxy, I think is probably the most satisfying part of it, because I had no idea what this actually was. I knew it was pirates. I knew Jude Law was going to be helping these kids. And I just, for some reason, thought these kids were going to be like just, I thought like marooned somewhere on a ship, but the whole metric of them like accidentally leaving this planet, I thought was really cool. So the overall, and honestly, there's some ties to the Old Republic the High Republic, which is funny because the Acolyte is in the High Republic, but is completely like divorced from the books at all. Like there's no payoff from watching the show if you read the books, but like this actually has some tie-ins to the High Republic. Supposedly this might not, when they talk about Republic dateries, like the money that they have, it might not even be like prequel government stuff. This is like old Republic, like like they have been sitting there self-sufficient, cut off from the government or from the rest of the galaxy for possibly hundreds and hundreds of years, like not just 50 years, you know?
It is pretty cool. The fact that there's just an entire planet that is just like, they figured out a way to stay off the grid.
And they did it, you know, and what's the best way to keep people from wanting to leave is just like make it a giant comfy suburb. You know, they like have all the little creature comforts that we have. They have a pretty nice public transit system. Everything leaves on time. They have cool bikes. They have, you tinker around in your garage. You got the holo videos for the kids. Very big, luxurious bathtub for Neil. There's all the perks. Was the space suburb a little bit off-putting for you at first?
Yeah,
it was a little too earthy.
Yes, it was a little too earthy, a little too heavy on the allegory for me, but it wasn't enough to turn me off.
Yeah. But it was very Amblin Entertainment, Goonies, like these are kids. These are just you could be these kids. And you could accidentally happen onto a ship and then, go gallivanting.
Yeah, it's a great Star Wars adventure. They wanted to put you in the shoes. They wanted you to like enjoy potentially seeing your kid fall in love with Star Wars like you did. By you like watching it with your kid, the fact that this show is something that you could watch with your kid, but also the fact of like that is the kid that you were wanting to go on your own Star Wars adventure when you were first viewing it. When you were first seeing it, you imagined yourself being on these adventures, and so it's like that inner child that gets to actually do it.
Yep. Were you thinking Jude Law was going to be a scoundrel with a heart of gold?
Yeah.
Seems like 100%. He's just a scoundrel.
He's a scoundrel with a heart of something much worse than gold.
Benta
Not a mint.
Maybe. Yeah, he took a turn there at that spa planet. He killed a bunch of pirates with acid by dropping acid on them, and then mutinied. And this was like what I was making fun of of SM-33. Get it, SME, get it? Where like SM-33 is kind of there to enforce the pirate rules or the pirate codes, but also he kind of just flips in and out of caring about them, which I think is strange, because he's like basically enforces Jod, who is Jod Law. He enforces his rise to being the captain. Is like, well, he challenged you and you yielded, so now you're the captain. And then later, Smee's just like, but I like you better. Like, it's that part was a little clunky. I know I'm just talking about things I wanted to talk about things I like, and I'm griping. But anyway,
yeah, he's like the referee of pirating. But then he's like, yeah, but I'm also a pirate. And it's like, this one's a little bit of a, you know, this one's a gimme. This one's a push. I'm going to side with my gut on this one because he's a droid and he has a gut.
Yeah, he's a gut. I kind of like the idea that droids have limits, or they have like maybe not even self-imposed boundaries, but like they have boundaries that they're aware of, but they can't do anything about. I'm starting to rewatch Andor, and you know the little red guy that follows him around. I can't remember the little red droid that looks like a trash can.
Yeah.
So he asked the trash can to lie for him, and he's like, I can lie, but I'm gonna have to charge up. That's gonna be use a lot of my memory. Like, so it's like the idea like this droid like has the ability to lie, but it takes more processing power, which is really funny to think about. And then he gives them 2 lies, and he's like, "Those are 2 lies. Now I really need to charge." Like it's really interesting to know, and like
it's extremely taxing.
Yeah, and that goes to Smee too, because you know, in the prequels and the OT, we didn't necessarily have much of that. And then in the Disney era, we're starting to get that a little bit more, like with the whole MacGuffin for Rise of Skywalker. C-3PO couldn't even say the coordinates because it was in a Sith language that was forbidden. Like, he can read it, he just can't say it out loud for whatever programming reason. But like coming out of the prequels and the original trilogy, we didn't. I just like droids were just people to me. Like they were complex, fast thinking like people. But in this case, it's like, well, no, they have some programming and they have some like self-imposed rules or manufacturing rules that are pressed upon him. Ergo, to say Smee is I think a little bit. He comes in cool, like he's this like, all right, I'm upholding the pirate code, but then it just gets a little clunky with when he decides to hold it up or not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you made a really good point about the droids, because in the beginning it's just like, well, why isn't Smee just like running the entire show? Because he knows more things, he has more stuff in his brain or in his database than anyone else, and he's stronger and he's better at combat. And so there were just moments in the show where it's like, you see, well, actually in the early part of the show, he takes on like a whole squad almost by himself.
Yep.
And then later on in the show, it's just like a good blaster shot will just take him down with one shot. Or just a well-placed... and then a restraining bolt.
A well-placed flip to the power switch on the back, you know?
Yeah, so he's very powerful, but you have to know the right, like... You got to know the rules. And that's also the way with the programming. Like, you can't... Yeah, a droid can't lie, but if you want him to do what you want, you're supposed to kind of convince him that he's following his programming and that you know the programming better than the droid.
Yeah. And you can kind of trick them in that way.
Yeah.
You know, he's Smee. He's
in the girl character. Sorry, forgetting her name, but she has to trick the.
I don't know any of the kids' names other than Neil.
The girl who's more of the leader.
Yeah. It's all like Star Wars names are kind of like they're like Mormon names. They're like one syllable sound effects, like smack and stick and smig, like Smig Romney. You know, like
and so like the droids don't have intuition, like, or they don't have emotion or whatever you want to call it, because a human being would be like, yeah, I know the rules, but I kind of can see what's going on here, and I'm going to enforce the spirit of those rules. But with a droid, it's like, oh, I know this one rule, and I know you have to enforce this rule, so I can get you to do that.
Yeah, no take backsies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smee, kind of cool, kind of not. Jod Nahwood, love the character. I'm fully, even when he turned out to be a kind of a big asshole, I love that character. You know, he comes in with his mask on, and that's how we meet him, and you know, they put him in the brig, and we meet him again, and he has the Force, and he has a lightsaber. He's just cool. He's cool. And it's Jude Law. Where you can go wrong with
Jude Law. He's great.
Again,
I love him in this.
Very, very Mormon name. Jod.
Yeah,
somewhere in Salt Lake City, there's a couple of guys named Jod. Yeah.
Only in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. They work at the temple. What was your okay, I've talked a little bit. What's your overarching theme here?
Yeah, so this is I came up with this only like 10 minutes before we started recording, so it's very half baked. But I think
only fully baked theories and well
I know, on this show we always come polished.
Well,
no improv, no ad-libbing.
Only well-studied positions on this show, friend.
I know, and so that's why Nick is always here to help. Okay, so it's like this is called the 3 skeletons in the crew, or whatever, working title. And so I gave them. I was like, this kind of sums up the show for me, and like the 3 people. There are 3 members of the crew. So the first one is the Disney adult. So that's a callback to previous episode where we talked about Disney adults. But yeah, so there's the Disney adult.
You mean is that who the show is for?
So yeah, these are like characters. These are part of the crew that kind of like these are the members of the crew that symbolize the show and the different aspects of the show.
Got it.
Yeah, and I'll explain it. But so the first one is the Disney adult. The second one's the inner child, and then the third one is the pacifier.
Okay.
So I will go through and kind of explain what I mean by that. So the Disney adult, this is my way of saying that this guy is like basically us, Nick. They wanted like a good property from Disney. They wanted a good Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, but I'm an older dude. So I expect you to be very authentic to the brand. And we're millennials. And as Disney adults, like, yeah, we might be like a little cringe with how much we like these really old properties, but we expect that you can like deliver on them, make them very high quality, make them authentic. But we're not like super cringe. We're not like over the top. We don't want like just complete fan service. So that's kind of that Disney adult. So yeah, we really liked it when the show had lots of like great action. Like the show has really good action. It has amazing CGI, but we don't want the CGI to look bad. Like we want the CGI to look so good that we can't even tell it's CGI. And the fact that this is TV and it does it so well, I feel like I have to bring that up. Like the show's excellent in the effects category.
Oh yeah,
costuming.
That one scene where they go see the owl cat and they're like walking over those little hills and they see the big moon is in the background. That's one of the coolest Star Wars shots ever.
Yes, I'm honestly like, it's amazing how little it feels like they're sacrificing in terms of quality. And like, and it doesn't seem like they're taking a lot of shortcuts, but you know that they're having to take shortcuts because they can't spend, you know what I mean? Like this is not a feature film. No. There's no way they're spending this much to make this show.
They're spending stupid money still, but
they're still spending a lot.
There's one caveat with this. When Jod gets to the vault at the bottom of the city and all the gold batteries spill over, like it's very clearly CGI. It's like you couldn't have like maybe like a little pile of fake gold, like he just knocks over. Like if you have like the entire shelf fall over, sure, but just like you could have like maybe 500, 600 pieces fall over in real life. It just like he puts his hand into it and it's very clearly not actually there.
Okay, that's fine.
Anyway, if that's my gripe, I guess we're doing pretty good though.
Yeah, that's not too bad. But yeah, it's like this is the Disney doll. Like we want good Star Wars. We want it to be like nostalgic, but we also want it to be fresh. And we're kind of sick of. We're a little bit tired of having a couple of misses, honestly, when it comes to Star Wars and Marvel TV. So I think that we're overall like we're happy with it. But I think where we go wrong is that where the allegory is like a little bit too heavy. So like we appreciate that, like as Disney adults, we appreciate that they're showing this like dystopian world that they live on. Mm-hmm. But I'm almost like, I don't know, it's not. That's where we're starting to get like a little bit too far from Star Wars. It almost just feels like a weird sci-fi dystopian planet. But that's a minor gripe. I still thought it was cool.
And you know. If we're still in the Disney adult character, right? Or okay.
Yes, this is still the Disney adult character.
Like
mostly very good.
One thing I'm getting kind of tired of is Star Wars referencing itself. So like him on his little data pad, like reading stories about the Jedi, and it reminds me of did you watch How I Met Your Mother?
No.
There's a thing
But
where
I'm sort of aware of it.
Jason Segel flips out because he
Yeah.
finds out somebody hasn't seen Star Wars. She's like, you haven't seen Star Wars? The only people that haven't seen Star Wars are the characters in Star Wars, like because they're in the Star Wars, and so it's funny
Technically,
because then
that's
now
pretty
like
true.
with Disney Star Wars, it's kind of when you interact with new properties, it's like they've watched Star Wars, like I'm kind of like I'm getting tired of that. Like Rey seems like she's kind of watched Star Wars. They all know who Luke Skywalker is. And granted, I know that was the story, is he's a legendary character and all this kind of stuff, but I'm kind of tired of the characters like watching Star Wars. If that makes sense.
I think that's the Disney adult's take
Mm-hmm.
on this. He's like, I'm kind of tired of self-referencing and I want something. Again, it's a tough balance because I want you to make it feel like the Star Wars I was watching when I was a kid. I want you to do that now, even though it's been like 30 years, 40 years later. But then there's the next one, the inner child. The inner child is also like a great member of the crew because all the scenes with kids are things that kids can enjoy and a Disney adult can enjoy. But like, it's sort of stuff that it's like the coming of age story there. So I really enjoyed like seeing that the main characters, like these kid characters, I feel like they got A-list kids. I don't know about you. Like, I feel like Disney was like, all right, we got this entire like wealth of people that we can pick out of. And they were like, you know what? We didn't like what we did with Obi-Wan. We kind of went out of our C list. We thought that would be fine. And the people that ran Skeleton Crew, they're like, no, Disney, like, we're going to hire the best. We want the best kids. Like, we want the best child actors. I feel like they are. Like, I was
They're
like,
really good child actors,
impressed.
yeah. And especially like the one kid that's in a mocap suit for Neil. Like, good job.
It's really impressive. I do think that it did bother me a lot because I'm like, it just feels like you're talking inside of a mask.
Yeah.
A lot. And it's definitely difficult.
You can tell that kid is on set though. Like there's just like the way that the voice sounds and the way that any other people interact with him, and he seems like he's actually there. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah. So the inner child is like the inner child to me is like the kids that are part of it, but you're able to have fun with them as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Like not every kid is like that. A lot of kids are just crappy. Like they need to grow up and you don't want to be around them until they grow up and mature.
Mm-hmm.
But like some kids, you meet them and you're like, that kid is at a good part of their life. Like some kids are they're just good people even at that age.
He's at a good clip.
And you're like, I don't mind being around
Yeah.
them. Yeah. Good kid. Okay. But the worst, so the first two, I was like, great. They're good with the Disney adult. They're good with the inner child. Now the pacifier, I was like, I don't like that. And that's when they went full baby mode. And I think that was episode 4 where they went and they got stuck on that planet and they had to go be child soldiers for a day.
Oh, that was by far the worst one. Okay.
Yeah, I was almost done.
Talk about
it almost killed me.
And I don't know if this is a pacifier thing, but talk about like being really tonally confused because it is a planet in full-on war every day with child soldiers, proudly featuring child soldiers, and these kids just kind of like they take them to the shooting range and it's done in a whimsical way. Like, look how good Wim is at shooting the gun, and then like they put them in the front lines, but they're not actually in danger. It's just like, what is actually happening here? Are these child soldiers, or is this just like a big laugh? Like it's really not. It's played for whimsy, but it's actually kind of a horrifying concept.
It could, and it should have been it should have been that. It maybe would have been better if they had leaned into how horrifying that is, but instead, I thought they made it like baby mode.
Like maybe if like they could have made it into more of like a Fallout type situation, like not like as extreme in your face, like it's extreme,
sure.
But like this is a dilapidated society that kind of it fights with itself, but it functions, right? And like there's some funny things, and like here's the wasteland, but we've made it into our shelter, like all this kind of stuff. And I don't know, we might find out that there's something special with this planet. Like maybe they like maybe all the planets were like vaults. in Fallout, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe this was the planet where they were going to experiment with infighting, right? And Atten was the finance planet and all this kind of stuff. So of course,
I could see them coming back to it
because people are
that
asking
one
like,
girl
why
they
does
spent a
the
lot of time
school have a
with.
gun on it? Like that was that was the big thing that kind of tipped people off. Like, well, maybe something weirder is happening here. But like the tone of that episode was so off. I was like, let's
Agreed.
get off of this planet.
And maybe this isn't the pacifier isn't accurate, but I felt like it was just like, okay, I feel like they're doing a great job of balancing this between being for everyone, which is really hard to do. It's really hard to make a show that can be for like a wide audience, especially from age range wise. But that episode, I was like, I'm only interested in this if I'm a little baby.
Me.
And like the content of it too, it's like they were like, it was the girl and the kid and
Neil,
what's his face,
yeah.
the alien boy, talking for a long time.
Yeah. It's like,
And
why do you guys
he
have
was
to
like,
fight? Why didn't you just guys, have you tried not fighting?
Yeah. He's like, why are you so mean to each other? Can't you just be nice? And it's like, they could have
And
done
at the
this
end, she's
in a
like,
nuance-
I will
yeah.
take this back to my tribe and see if this works. Like, we're going to try this idea.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, the pacifier. Yeah. We don't want the full baby. Like, don't give us, you cannot go that far. Like you can't go into that. That's when you need to be an entire show that's for babies or not, but don't bring any of that into like this, into the show.
Okay. So I have a theory with what happens with Jod in that episode that if it's not right, then it's a giant swing and a miss plot wise. So I think Jod killed everyone. Like the what are they called? The whatever the opposing
The
group
other
is,
tribe.
the other tribe that
The other
found
tribe,
he
yeah.
killed them all. Because if he
Never
didn't,
thought about that.
if he didn't, it makes no sense why. I mean, he was completely outgunned, right? So like he's walking out with SM-33 onto the plank, and he's completely surrounded by people with military grade armor. Like they had like Imperial armor, basically, like old looking stuff. They had guns. They had like weird creatures. And you need to tell me that he negotiated by giving them gold bars, and they like, what did they give back to them? Some kind of animal, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, what if I paid you these gold bars and then I could take the animals back? The tribe would be like, what if fuck you and we just take it all? Like that would make no sense. No sense.
And they didn't show any of it.
No.
So
And I think one of the
They're-
arguments is like, oh, because they do trade, they trade with outsiders. Like that's how they've gotten some of their stuff, and that if they killed an outsider, then nobody would come trade with them anymore. I'm like, I'm not buying that. Like literally, like, oh, there's this guy with a droid, and he has a ton of old Republic batteries and a ship, but like we'll just negotiate with him and take his money, and we'll be on our happy way. Now, again, we've seen in further episodes that Jod is actually kind of ruthless. So, and he's force sensitive and could probably hold his own. Does he have the lightsaber yet? No, he doesn't have the lightsaber.
he didn't
yet.
have a lightsaber.
But
so
he,
that
he's
is-
got
that is
tricks
an
up his
issue.
sleeve. So if we come to find out that he killed that entire tribe, then it makes more sense.
I think that's unlikely
Yeah.
because where we're at with the show now, why would we go back to that unless they were thinking it doesn't
They specifically don't show that.
doesn't make a lot
They
of
don't
sense.
show that tribe walking away. They don't show them doing anything. So he could have, but
Okay.
I'm
Here's
pulling
how
for
it could happen.
I hope that he did, because if
In a
it doesn't, it
season
makes
2,
no sense.
In a season 2, that was an episode for potentially to open up another season, because they're like, we could go back to that planet, and then it will be revealed that happened, along with whatever else they needed to do there.
Or in the season finale, again, this is all made moot by the season finale. In the season finale, we have like a really long like exposition from the bad guy.
And by the time everyone listens to this, they're gonna
Yeah.
have seen it. So
So it's like all the exposition
Not
from the
necessarily.
bad guy, where it's just like, when you thought I was negotiating with this tribe, I actually killed. And it's like they show, like a montage of clips from the things that he was actually doing. It's like, I was bad the whole time. Yeah.
yeah, he's cool though. I
You're
like
cool.
how he
He's cool.
he's a cool though. Like, he's a cool dude. It's probably because he's Jude Law, and Jude Law, it's pretty hard for him not to be
Yeah.
a cool dude.
Oh yeah. He's carrying the show in many ways, but oh man, I had so many gripes, and I said I was just going to say all the good things, but I promise you, I like the show.
I feel like I think it's a lot easier, like for me, it's a lot easier to criticize a show when I already like
Yeah,
it. So
I completely memory hold that episode until you brought it up. Because I was like, what episode are you talking about? What episode's for babies? And then you mentioned, it's like, oh yeah, that one. Oh.
I honestly, Nick, I stopped watching the show for several weeks after that.
Okay.
And then I binged it today to catch up for this podcast.
And the ones after it.
Oh, there's the show I like again.
The ones after it, thankfully, are like.
It totally recovers. Mm-hmm. Shogun. Have you ever seen Shogun?
No, because by the time I'm a dad, and by the time I have enough wherewithal to watch a show, I can't read subtitles.
Fair enough.
I know that makes me sound like a dumb person, but like I'm so excited. I want to watch Squid Game, but then I sit down at 10:30. I'm like, I can't read subtitles right now.
Oh, I can't. 10:30 is a lot to ask, but yeah. Well, I brought that up though is because I really like that show, but then on episode 4, I was like,
jump the shark.
Jump the shark here. Yes.
Every good show that I love has a episode. Like even Stranger Things has that episode where you're like, dude, why?
Did Fallout have one? Because I feel like you brought that up now a few times, and I haven't seen it. Do I need to go see that?
You need to watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's like the coolest thing ever, but it's a very good comic book or video game show. No, I can't. I've memory hold a lot of that now. So.
Okay. You know what? I also saw Nosferatu. I just saw that yesterday.
I want to see that. I don't
know how much time you have. We might. I
can go.
We might have to be done.
Yeah, like we should wrap up our skeleton crew thoughts, but.
I know. I was like, I want to tell Nick about Nosferatu.
I want to see it. I heard it was really good. What's the other thing that came out recently? I don't know. I really want to watch Squid Game too, and I don't want to watch dubs because it's not good. Like if it sounds so bad, like the English dubs.
I would never do that.
I tried it because at the beginning when I watched, I was like, I don't want to read subtitles. And it sounds so bad with dubs. So then I put on subs. I'm like, oh, you can hear the emotion in these actors' voices, and I don't know what they're saying, but when I read the text, I understand. Like that's why you put on subs, so you could like hear them in their native tongue, even if you don't understand it. But I'm just like, I don't have energy for that.
Yeah, something about the way that their language can be in a constant state of excitement and anger, and it sounds just cool.
The Korean language? Yeah.
Korean or
Japanese?
I watch a lot of anime,
okay.
so a lot of anime is just shouting and yelling. But when you do that with like American actors, it just sounds weird for them to be shouting and being angry in that kind of tone for that amount of time for me. So yeah,
essentially every role that Mia Goth is in, she just shouts forever. So yeah, she's like anime, but for American actors.
So yeah, Skeleton Crew, we both gave it our seal of approval.
Yeah,
I mean that's great.
I mean, I think the finale has a huge load to carry. Like I said, like I'm looking for some things to maybe tie up some shit that doesn't make sense in the rest of the episode, but. Knowing that Jod is a bad guy and like kind of more ruthless than we thought. Yeah. Like I felt it in my heart that he was going to turn on the kids, but not in the way that he did. I felt like he was going to like basically toss them out of the spaceship and then go like plunder the planet, right? Like he was like.
I do have to admit, I was disappointed when he turned out to be just pretty bad.
He's pretty bad.
He's a pirate.
But I don't want him to be. I don't want there to be four-dimensional chess. Like, oh, but I was bad in this good way. Like, no, I just want him to be like, well, no, I'm this is who I am, and haha, can't catch me.
There's not. But if you think about it, there isn't no. It's not like there's no return because he didn't like kill anyone good.
Yeah,
so
true.
It isn't as if there is no room for redemption.
Yeah, and Star Wars is okay with killing, like we just...
You can kill as many people as you want as long as you just say, I'm different now.
Yep. I mean, you just offing clone troopers and stormtroopers, just drowning your enemies in an acid bath, no big deal. Which, by the way, it didn't seem to make that big of a difference because there was still a pretty large crew of pirates when he got out there. So,
yep, it didn't really matter at all.
Yeah, he just like took
And
off
they
like
didn't
maybe
even bring it up.
maybe picked off like 3 or 4 people with that, but then luckily,
Yeah, and then you charge that to the game if you're a pirate.
yeah. So well, hey, yeah, that's don't hate the player, hate the game.
Fewer people to cut the booty with. So
Cut that booty. So I'm anticipating it. I'm really happy with where it's at. I can see it getting the axe because I mean it's doing even worse than Acolyte.
I think this is an overall Star Wars problem. I think we both know that. Like, this is just a audience that is checked out of the brand at the moment.
And somehow we are just so less forgiving than Marvel people. Like, Marvel gets a pass for every new show, I feel like. And yeah, okay, I don't think their ratings are doing that well, and I don't think their movies are doing that well, but man, do they keep making it.
I don't know if it gets a pass. I mean, if you talk to the people that you knew that were watching it but weren't obsessed, like the slightly like the more casual fan, they're probably like, yeah, I didn't watch. Oh, did you see
We're not
this
watching
movie that
Echo.
came out 2 years ago?
Yeah,
They didn't. They're not watching that stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Their CEO has addressed that there's been a quality issue. The Disney CEO, but not sure what he's doing about it. Skeleton Crew, that's what he did. Good job.
Yep.
Like it.
So and I like that Star Wars is taking risks with content from people we haven't seen. Like they're not doing like, hey, guess what? Yoda shows up at the end, although he does in Acolyte, but like they're not
bad example.
Like Mando played some of those tricks, continues to play some of those tricks. Like, oh look, I remember that guy, you know. But Mando kind of gets a pass because of how big it is, and how much of a success it is. But I'm liking that they're taking these risks. Andor was a huge risk, and people seem to like it a lot. I'm enjoying my rewatch because I've kind of forgotten everything that happened, and just like, man, the tone of this is so weird. It is like that is the one they're trying to make like into an HBO show, basically. It's a weird tone.
Successfully.
Like there's this the cops, the corporate cops are weird, but I love weird Star Wars. I don't like safe Star Wars. Skeleton Crew, I think, like you said, has some tendencies to go a little safe and to go a little soft. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Rise of Skywalker, like,
but it's what it
Rise
was
of
going
Skywalker
for.
Is like a cushy blanket. Like it is a giant inflatable like smash pad for you to fall into. Zero concerns over your safety for Rise of Skywalker. The Acolyte was running head first or running ass first naked into a thorn bush, right? Like there was a lot of things in it that was really risky and it didn't pay off, right? This one is more like, cliff diving and hoping that you don't break your legs at the bottom, you know?
Skeleton Crew, I feel like they marketed it like, and I knew I kind of knew what to expect a little bit. Like I knew what the tone was, and therefore I wasn't disappointed.
This is going to be a Goonies, like kids, a kid's adventure.
Yes, exactly. And like Andor was supposed, you kind of knew what you're supposed to get out of that, and it delivered. I feel like the same
Gritty.
thing with this, and they could be different. Yeah, we don't need an Andor. We don't need every show to be Andor.
No.
Like Star Wars is like a fun, playful property. So agreed on that.
Yep. I mean, looking forward to movies again. I need some Star Wars movies.
That's true. we need like an awesome movie to get this franchise.
Also, I'm exhausted with TV. Like I'm exhausted with like, oh, I have to go watch 7 hours of a thing to catch up. Like, whereas with a movie, it's just like, I got my popcorn. I'm in this for 2 hours. I'm good. You know, like,
yeah. And you can make like a date of it or like a night of it. Like I'm planning it like Saturday or Friday or whatever night. That's going to be blank night. And
they got to do their story. They got to wrap it up in a tight 2 hours. And there's got to be like some payoffs and some delivery. And at the end, you're done. But like, I don't know, with television, it's just like, man, I got to think about this for weeks now. Like I don't know. I have to remember things that happened 3 episodes ago. Like, yeah, I watched 3 episodes in a row and they're nice and continuous, but what if I get busy for 2 weeks and come back to it? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of tired of that. I think like we're in that content period where everything is a TV show, and I need some movies.
Yeah, it's a different thing altogether. But I think, Nick, that's all we got for tonight.
Yep. We were back to Star Wars.
It was a good episode. We've been back to Star Wars. I've been Chris Sagan.
We've been back. Where have you been? I'm Nick Oswald.
And may the Force be with you, and we will see you all next time.